bell rings and your students are ready to start the day. But are you? So many things can happen when the day officially starts in your classroom that it can be very overwhelming. Your students are getting ready to start the day while you're taking attendance, while you're getting backpacks unpacked, while you're collecting homework, tying a shoe, so on and so on. With everything going on, your students are bound to get a little restless. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some morning activities that you can do with your students to help keep your students less restless and more on task during your morning routines. Stay tuned. What's up, educational rock stars? Welcome back. I'm Farah from Farah Henley Education, where I strive to bring you actionable tips and strategies for you to take into your classroom to make your teacher life a little easier, and today's video is no exception. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you get notified when we upload new videos or go live here on the channel. Now, morning time can be super stressful for teachers. I know it can be full of taking attendance. You're trying to get homework turned in. You're trying to get backpacks unpacked. Students are late. Not everybody shows up at the same time. But this is critical time in your classroom that you can be using to get some major things done academically with your students if you have the right activities. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 activities that you can use during that morning arrival time that are going to help you get the biggest impact and not waste time in your classroom. Now, the first activity that I want to talk about is game on review. Use that morning time to review concepts, but don't just give your students a worksheet for review. Make it a game. Using games like Bump or using games like Squares Your Brain that you can find links to down in the description, or even some programs like MobyMax that you can use in order to make review fun for your students. Even that small amount of time, playing a game that is academically based and provides review and enrichment for your students is a great use of those minutes when your students first arrive in class. Don't waste any time. We know that academic time in our classrooms is precious, and why would we want to waste it when we can use it to get our game on and have our students review concepts that they constantly need to review and get practice with. Now, the second way that you can use this time in the morning is for spiral review. My favorite way to do spiral review is with my morning work packets that I created for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. My students loved these worksheets because they typically followed the same concepts and same skills for the entire week. They were just reviewing them constantly in multiple formats on these worksheets that they got, and I loved the fact that I could print the entire week out and I could put it in a packet for them, or even one year I printed the entire month out at a time, and that way they had a bound book that they just worked through in the mornings. It's not something that I typically graded, but I did check it to make sure that they were completing it each morning. That way, if a student arrived early or they didn't arrive until later than another student, it didn't matter that they didn't have the same amount of time to work on the activity. They could just work on it as they went through the morning. The other place that they worked on these was as early finishers, because they would review. The spiral review is amazing, and they would review these concepts over and over and over and get the practice that they needed when they were doing the activities on the morning worksheets. Now, the third way that you can use this morning time is for a little sneak peek or setup time for a project that you might be working on that day. Nothing works better than getting your students involved in the setup of a project. So leaving little tasks on their desks for when they come in that are actually part of the bigger project, but it's a piece of that project that they can start setting up so that the rest of the class will be able to use it as well. That is a great way to give them a sneak peek into something you have planned for the day. My favorite way to do this is when we might be doing an art project and I need paper torn up, or I need popsicle sticks counted out into certain numbers or batches. Or even if you have a math lesson that you're going to be teaching that day, you can put different manipulatives and have the students sort them out or make the bags for everybody so that they will have the manipulatives they need for your math lesson. It gives them a sneak peek into what they're going to be learning that day, and it takes a little work off your plate too. The fourth activity that you can do in the morning is maybe who's the boss. Give your students a job to complete each morning. Now, this might not be perfect for every single student in your classroom, but I would be willing to bet that even your most trying students can be given a job that they can do in the mornings. I loved giving my students jobs because there was plenty in the classroom that I just didn't have time to get done. Maybe it was wiping the whiteboard off. Maybe it was sharpening the pencils. Maybe it was just picking up all of the scissors and getting them back in the scissor box. Whatever the job may be, give them a morning job and make sure that they know that when they come into the classroom, they are to finish whatever morning routine you've set up, putting their backpack up, turning their homework in, and then they're to get right to work on their job. Again, this is a perfect way to take some work off your plate, get some help, and keep your students motivated and engaged during those first few minutes when they arrive in the classroom. Now, the fifth way that I loved using this morning time was just to do a checkup with my students. It is so important that we check in with our students. We not only need to check to make sure they're getting homework done or maybe they've eaten breakfast, but we need to do a mental check with our students as well, and an emotional check with them so that we can know exactly where they're at before we start the day. I loved having quiet music playing in my classroom when my students would come in, and they would simply have journals on their desks where they would come in and they would write about the night before, the day before after school, whatever they really wanted to write about. It gave me a chance to really get to know my students. I didn't give them a prompt or anything like that. It wasn't a writing assignment. It was just a chance for them to get their feelings out onto paper, and it was perfect for in the morning because it also kept my classroom really calm in the morning, and my students were able to come in, listen to music, and we were able to start our day off on the right foot. Now, getting your students motivated in the morning can be a challenge, especially when you have a million things to do in the morning. But make sure you're taking advantage of those first few minutes in your classroom and don't let them go to waste. Using one of these 5 tips and activities is going to ensure that your morning time doesn't get wasted because, again, every minute in our classroom is precious, so don't waste a single moment. Now, if you're looking for more tips and strategies for you to use in your classroom, be sure and check out the videos on your screen. Don't forget to like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and share it out on social because you know the best professional development is always the teacher next door. Thanks for watching and keep being educational rock stars.